The following program is in no way affiliated with Rollins College, Rollins College Athletics, or any Rollins College entity. The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of Rollins College, the City of Winter Park, Florida, or the American Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology.
Welcome to
You Can't Say That.
Welcome to the Rollins College post-game basketball show. You Can't Say That. I'm Biff Hole.
And I'm Scott Free. Welcome tonight.
Hey Scott, you're having a little trouble getting that out tonight, weren't you? Must have been the game.
Just a lot to talk about, very little time to do it, Biff, so let's get right into it.
All right, let's get right into it. Let's see predictions at the end of last
Like
show.
I said, let's get right into it. Let's not get into that.
Yes.
Biff Hole, ladies and gentlemen. Biff Hole, calling the game exactly correctly.
Exactly? Well, I was 1 point off. I think I said it would be 87-70, and the final score was...
We might have to go to the tape to find that out, but I think you got it either exact or within a point. That's just amazing, Biff.
87-71, the final score. The prediction was 87-70. And I said this would be a trap game for Rollins.
And it certainly was, because if you looked at the first half, you just stood there and just in amazement, Biff.
It was something of...
Especially the end of the first half. What about that half-court shot?
Yeah, whenever you get a half-court shot that puts the team that's supposed to be down by 20 within one, you know you got something special going on.
Yeah, I don't even want to relive it. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, I had this team absolutely being destroyed. I was dead wrong. So after an incredible opening game for us on the picks, this one went all the way to you, 100%.
Well, I think you also had Rollins making the Division I polls as number 28 or something. I mean,
we're gonna cover that a little bit later.
Right. All right, yeah. Not number 28 on the Division I polls, and definitely not number 17 on the Division II polls. They played more like your everyday average Division II team, which Rollins is not.
Again, we did talk about this last week, or actually in our last show, I believe it was.
It was the last show.
That was our last show. That they have a tendency, and it is the trap game I think you're talking about, they have a tendency to honestly play down to the competition, and I think tonight, at least through 3/4 of it, was an example of that.
Oh yeah. They absolutely did play down to the competition. Puerto Rico and Rio Pedros. Rio Pedros. They played well. They played up. They played the game they had to play to stay in it.
Shot way over their head in that first half, though. I don't think that first half was indicative of the kind of team they really are, or the kind of team Rollins really is. I think a big point to make here is that, I mean, they shot lights out in that first half, but boy, I give them a lot of credit. They are quick. They were fast. I mean, Rollins is a fast team. Man-to-man couldn't keep up.
No, and they, when you say they had a much smaller lineup also, which is for Rollins, who have a pretty big lineup for Division II, in my opinion.
Absolutely, a little deceiving when you look at them on paper,
right,
versus what they show up with.
It just, this is just my personal opinion, but when you have a smaller lineup against a smaller, quicker lineup, it makes it much more difficult to get up and down the court without having that ball knocked away or stolen. The offensive boards, I wanted to talk about that, and we had talked a little bit about what we saw going on there.
Oh, they're offensively for Rollins on the boards. You wondered where were they in the first half? They really didn't bang the boards hard. If it wasn't for Nick Wolf playing tough pretty much throughout the whole game, and especially in the second half, really taking a commanding presence on the inside, there really wasn't enough real banging going on for Rollins to actually take any type of set any type of tempo or precedent.
Yeah, I agree. And back to the offensive board part, 3 total offensive boards for Rollins as opposed to 8 for Puerto Rico. Now it looked a lot more. I guess it looked like there was a much bigger discrepancy there, but it just seemed that
Well,
that they were rushing to the ball. There was a lot more hustle on the other side.
Oh, I think you just hit it on that. I think the positioning of where the Rio Piedras players found themselves after the shots were coming off was in a much better position to get to the recover the ball and the rebounds than Rollins was. Rollins looked a little flat-footed, but as I said, you look at a couple players tonight, and this is where you have to go right to it. Nick Wolf, Matt Robertson, Brett Chance to some degree, Ian Scott definitely, Nick Brown, and Nicolai Baran. That was pretty much the whole thing. And I think one of the problems that Rollins ran into tonight was they don't have, whether it's through injury or just roster lineup, they don't have a long, deep bench to go to. All those players are playing, and they're all getting a lot of minutes. Right. Normally you'd say that's a very good thing, but when you're against a team like you said tonight, well, you can get run out of the game pretty fast. You can get run down and get tired, and you saw a lot of hands on the hips and a lot of guys leaning over.
Absolutely, and it brings a little, just a question to ponder. Brett Chance played about 18 minutes in that game. I'm seeing Chance as one of the top 4 players on that team right now. And Ian Scott is a hustler. The guy gives 100% every game.
I think he had his best game tonight, actually.
I do too. I think he was playing with heart. He was hustling. He had there was energy out there, playing with a lot of emotion. But Chance, that guy's a player.
Yeah, and he hit some key threes.
He sure did. And he needed to be out on that court a little bit more than he was.
But I think if you take Wolf again and Robertson out, those are the. I mean, we'll talk about McBrown in just a second. But Wolf and Robertson, they are the mainstays. They are the anchor that just every night you expect to show up and do a certain amount of a job, and they always get it done. They're not extremely flashy. Wolf, the more physical of the two. Robertson very, very much can hold his own in a crowd with that type of magnitude also. I think those guys basically kept Rollins there. I don't think the outside shooting was working tonight that well for Rollins. Nicolai Baran, he's a great player. There's no question. For a Division II player, just absolutely phenomenal, but didn't have the best of nights.
Yeah, and a lot of Nicolai's nights are like that. It's just, he'll hit a big 3 every once in a while, but then just fizzles away. On the defensive side, tonight he didn't get those charges. He usually gets those calls. A lot of them he was called for blocking.
Biff, I think you brought up last year he was getting those calls all the way all through the year. Did. I think this year they might have had a meeting on him in the officiating and just said, basically we're going to really look at each charge one by one, analyze it by that. Speaking of the officiating, what about Coach K tonight? Getting on the officials. It seemed like 1 or 2 officials really had him pinned up against the wall.
Yeah, well, I think he should have been getting on the officials tonight. There were a lot of bad calls. Very obvious calls right in front of them. They either didn't make or they made the wrong call.
Clicking yet.
That's right.
They're not even close. And when they do get each, I think you're going to see marked improvement in each game, and I think this next game there will be a nice little start of a breakout.
I didn't see marked improvement between last game and this game.
Oh, I so much disagree, Biff Hall.
Okay.
I mean, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, again, Nick Wolf, Matt Robertson, quiet numbers, but the numbers are always there. They're in there game in, game
they
out.
Are. You're right. But
Mick Brown, I think the only thing missing on this is
the 3 players that are consistent. For the most part.
But that's basically the main thrust of this team this year. That's why I'm saying if there's an injury, there's a problem. Now something I don't know how many people caught it tonight. It looked like Nick Wolf might have tweaked his back a little bit. Did you happen to see that?
Yeah, I did. But Nick always looks like he tweaks something during the game.
Okay, well
he's always wincing and grabbing something. And I'm not saying, and in no way am I saying that he's just doing it for attention. I'm not. I'm really not saying that. I think.
But you can't say that anyway. But I would tell you.
But what I'm saying is he often tweaks something. He often has that wincing pain look, and I think it's just he plays so hard. He plays right through whatever happens. I think this guy's an Iron Man.
I don't disagree with you. But it seemed like it was bothering him a lot into the second half. It seemed like it. In his shot, you would see a little bit more apprehension when he let the ball go. things to watch. As I said, this guy, you're right. Every game he comes back.
Yeah.
Every game he looks strong. Every game he's fluid. But something, if anything, any one of these guys, Wolf, Robertson, Scott, Brown, Baran, if any of them, Castillo even, Chance,
Right.
if any of these guys go down,
Right.
the whole puzzle
Exactly.
comes
Exactly.
undone.
So I mean, they got to be careful on the court and off the court.
What do you mean by off the court?
I mean, just accidentally stumbling on Park Avenue after having, just a few too many,
Oh, Biff Hall.
steps. No, a few too many
yeah.
steps, like walking, because they exercise a lot
Okay.
after these games
What did you
and on
think
the
of the
weekend.
what did you think of the coaching tonight?
Not-
And then we'll
Yeah. What do I think? I have no complaints about the coaching. I just think they let this game get a little close without some.
I saw something else tonight. Let me tell you,
there's some warning signs there.
I thought Coach Klusman actually managed this game again. I thought he managed the last game well. I thought he managed this game well. He called the timeouts at pretty much the appropriate spots. He seemed to be guiding the team down. I think he picked his personnel tonight very, very, very well. I'm not sure why Nicola Baran does not take that three, that deadly three, as a sharpshooter he is, more often. I'm not sure if he's being told not to. I don't know what the case is there. But that shot has to probably be, he took it a few times tonight.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to make a big difference. I think that could have helped on the pull away. Rollins needs to be able to hit threes.
Yeah.
What do you see they didn't get a lot of tonight?
What do I see? They didn't get a lot of tonight.
Would you find something that you felt they were off on tonight?
It's really difficult. Going through, watching the game was totally different than looking at these stats.
Right.
All right. I see that Ian Scott didn't take any threes tonight, and he was out there for 30 minutes. He took one shot.
Right.
I think that's pretty big. I think that's significant. I see that Baran, he had a good amount. He had 5 3-point shots. Hit 2. Good night. I mean, not great night.
I think the three shooting was off. You had Wolf 1 for 4. You had Matt Robertson 1 for 2, and then you had Nikolai Baran.
This game could have been, and it was pretty much one inside.
Yes.
They could have gone inside the entire night, just pounded it. And looking, like I said, watching the game and then going back and looking at the stats. I mean, it's obvious that Robertson and Brown were both pounding inside, and they were getting the calls.
Well, before we wrap this up, Biff, let me ask you, Brett Chance, what does he have to do in the next game? His threes was going down.
Brett Chance next game, he needs to play more. Brett Chance in the next game needs to play more.
Okay, all right, and then I think that pretty much covers how this game went.
Yeah.
Did you give a score on that game?
We're running way over time. The game, my prediction for this last game was 87-80. The score was 87-81.
You have to
gotta keep saying that. Gotta
one.
keep saying that.
Great job, Biff Hall.
But this is we're running way over our time, so we're gonna cut it short here.
Okay.
Ave Maria coming up. Palm Beach Atlantic. Ave Maria should be a blowout. I think we both agree on that.
I'm going to say by 30.
And Palm Beach Atlantic, I'm saying 10 to 12 point win.
On Palm Beach Atlantic?
Yes.
Woo, you're going way out early here. They even got past Ave Maria. Okay, well, let's look. I am going to say that game I think is actually going to be surprisingly close. Okay. I'm going to say 8 points.
Early in this broadcast, you
8
said
points.
it's going to be a lot more than 10 or 12. We got that
No,
on tape too.
I think that one's actually going to be a little closer than people think. If nothing more than I think Palm Beach Atlantic's going to run a lot this year. So we'll come back to it. We'll take a look.
All right. For Biff Hole?
I'm Scott Free.
Wait a minute. I said for Biff Hole. I meant for Scott Free. I'm Biff Hole.
And Biff Hole.
Oh, well, we got it confused. Good night.